Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Hong Kong Horror. I'm your narrator, Simon. Tonight, I want to share a story that revolves around a very interesting topic. It's about family. You know, people always say blood is always thicker than water. We say children are a blessing, a gift from heaven. But is that always true? What if the child grew up to be a mass murderer? Would that child still be a blessing? If you talk to the old-timers in Hong Kong, the sifus who have seen things, they'll tell you that sometimes a child isn't always a gift. Sometimes they were put into your life to collect a debt. This next story comes from a man. Let's call him Andrew. Andrew is pushing 40 now, but the story, it's been eating away at him since the late 90s. It's about his little brother. As always, stick around till the end, because after the story, we'll break it all down from a Chinese cultural perspective to see what exactly happened here. Let's turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let's dive right into this one. Andrew's family lived out in Yuen Long when he was a young boy, not the city part with the fancy malls. I'm talking about those old-school, 3-story village houses near the hills. They were surrounded by banana trees and long grass. At night, it gets pitch black out there. But it was cheaper than living in the main city. It was also peaceful. Andrew was about 10 years old when this happened to him. He still remembers it as vividly as ever. It was spring. The walls were sweating with humidity. It was raining that annoying constant drizzle that soaks into your bones. Andrew remembers that he was walking home alone from school one day. He turns the corner to his house, and he sees someone standing outside their front gate. It was a man. Andrew didn't recognize him. They usually don't get much visitors. The guy was tall, super skinny, and he was wearing this old-school suit, like something from a 1960s black and white movie. The weird thing was, this guy is soaking wet. I don't mean just rained on. I mean like he just walked out of a lake or something. Water is pouring off his sleeves, pooling on the concrete. Yes, it was raining slightly outside, but it was just a drizzle. There's no way you could get this soaked, even if you were standing outside all day. Andrew didn't have an umbrella either, and he was barely damp. And this man, he was just standing there. Not at Andrew. He was staring up at the second floor of their house, right at the window of Andrew's parents' bedroom. Andrew froze. He felt a strange coldness crawling up his neck. He blinks, rubbed his eyes, and just like that, the guy's gone. Just gone. No puddle, no wet footprints, nothing. Andrew turned his head to look around for this man, to see if maybe he ran off. But there was no sign of anyone at all. A little weirded out now, he runs inside and tells his mom, "Amma, there was a wet man looking at your room from outside." His mom was doing the dishes at the time, asks him what he was talking about. She put the dishes down, dried her hands on the rag, and walks over to the door to look outside. There was nobody out there. She freaks out a little bit and told him to stop saying things like that. "Mo亂咁講嘢. Don't mutter nonsense. It'll bring bad luck." She then went over to the Gunyam altar to burn some incense. She then washes his face with pomelo leaf water. You know, the standard traditional stuff to wash away bad luck. She figured that Andrew was just making stuff up. 3 weeks later, Andrew's mom faints at the wet market when she was shopping for groceries. They go to the doctor. Surprise! She's pregnant. Now, normally you would pop champagne in this situation, right? But Andrew recalls the vibe in the house was the total opposite of what you would expect. His family was not rich, and they were struggling to get by already. This wasn't planned. With another mouth to feed soon, that would be additional expenses. Ever since this news, the air in the house got heavy. The family dog, it wouldn't go near the mom anymore. It would hide under the sofa and whine whenever she walked in. And the mom? She started having these dreams. Every single night, she would wake up gasping, clutching her throat. She told Andrew's dad that she felt like she was drowning in those dreams, like she was underwater and something was pulling her down by her legs. Andrew's dad was a taxi driver, a real old-school Chinese tough guy. He doesn't believe in any of that supernatural stuff and was a very practical person. He's like, it's just stress. But the grandma, Andrew's papa, she wasn't having it. She took one look at the mom's gray face and said, "We need to go see Master Gu." Master Gu was a serious feng shui master in the village. Another really old-school Chinese man. He chain-smoked when he read fortunes. As they walked into his hall, the mom steps over the threshold, and Master Gu drops his teacup. Smash! He stood up, face white as a sheet, and points at the mother's stomach. He doesn't say congratulations or anything like that. He says, "Do not let that thing be born." The room goes silent. The dad gets mad, obviously. He starts yelling, "What are you talking about? That's my kid. I knew we shouldn't have come here to listen to nonsense." Master Gu looks him dead in the eye and says, "That child is a karmic collector. Someone from a past life who hates you. He isn't here to carry on your family name. He's here to destroy this house. He's here to collect a debt. If he is born, you will lose everything." Imagine hearing that. Imagine a master telling you your unborn baby is basically a demon sent to ruin you. The master told them to terminate the pregnancy. He begged them. But the dad was stubborn, understandably. He flipped the table, called the master a scammer, and dragged his family out. Andrew looked back, and he saw the Sifu just shaking his head, looking sad, like he was looking at dead people walking. 6 months later, the baby is born. A boy. Let's call him June. The birth itself was a nightmare. 20 hours in labor. The mom almost bled out on the table. And when June finally came out, after his initial cry, it was just silence. He didn't really cry often, like most babies. Andrew went to see him in the nursery. He says June was just laying there, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. And those eyes, Andrew remembers that June didn't have the innocent eyes that babies usually have. Normally, when you're around babies, most people feel a sense of innocence and lightness. But June, his eyes were sharp. They were almost hateful. When Andrew looked at him, he didn't feel any of this innocence or connection at all. He felt uncomfortable. It wasn't like a movie where plates start flying immediately. It was much, much slower, more painful. It was more like rot beginning to take hold from within the family. First, it was the money. Andrew's dad, who was always an extremely safe driver, hit a pedestrian a month after June was born. There was an old man crossing the road, and for some reason, Andrew's dad swore that he did not see him until it was way too late. He ended up losing his license. Then came the lawsuits. Their savings? Gone in 6 months. Since he could no longer drive taxis to bring in an income for his young family, he tried turning to construction. He fell off a scaffolding his first week and broke his leg. They went from a happy middle-class family to borrowing money from loan sharks just to be able to afford groceries. Then, the health issues. Andrew's mom never fully recovered from the birth. Maybe it was the mental toll of Andrew's dad's accident, or the lawsuits, or maybe even postpartum depression. But she just started to wither away. She stopped eating. She laid in bed all day, staring at the ceiling. And June? June was a weird kid. He was always sick, always needing some kind of attention. But he never seemed to get better. He was pale, thin, like a stick figure, but resilient at the same time. It was the strangest thing. Andrew recalls one time when June was maybe around 4 years old. Their mom was hobbling around the kitchen, boiling a big pot of soup. Andrew was in the living room, doing homework. He sees June sitting on the floor with his toy cars, quiet. He watches June stand up, pick up a heavy wooden stool, and very quietly places it right behind his mom's legs. Then June just sits back down on the floor and waits. The mom turns around with the boiling pot in her hands, and she trips. Splash! The scream. Andrew said he still remembers that scream. Boiling soup all over her legs, skin peeling off. Andrew drops his pencil and runs in to try to help. Panic everywhere. He looks at June. The 4-year-old is just sitting there. He's not crying. He's not scared. He's smiling. Just a little satisfied smirk on his face as he was watching his mother scream in agony. Andrew ran over and grabbed June and shook him. "Why did you do that? I saw you. Why did you do that to Mom?" And June, this toddler, looks at him and just smiles. Things never improved. It only progressively got worse. Something was always happening in the household, where new expenses would come up or new health issues coming up, requiring expensive hospital visits. Andrew's whole family scrimped and saved and managed to survive as the years slowly crawled by. The house is falling apart, paint's peeling, molds growing on the walls, lights flickering constantly. His dad is an alcoholic now, drinking to forget his misery. He hates June. He won't touch him. He knows the master was right years ago. By now, June is 14 years old. The mom is basically a skeleton in bed. The doctors can't find anything wrong with her. They say it's stress, but Andrew sees it. Every day, June sits by her bed, holding her hand. It looks sweet, right? A son loving his sick mother. But Andrew says he felt that every time June held her hand, the mother looked a little grayer, a little more dead. And June, his cheeks would get rosy. He looked energized, like he was feeding on her life force. The end came on June's 15th birthday. It was a storm outside, thunder shaking the whole village house. The dad comes home drunk, soaking wet, enraged. He starts screaming at June, who is just sitting at the table, eating dinner, calm as a rock. The dad smashes a bottle on the ground. "You're a curse. You devil. You destroyed this family." He lunges at the boy. Andrew jumps up and stops him, but June doesn't flinch. He just looks up at the dad, and for a second, the lights cut out. Total darkness. Lightning flashes. In that flash of blue light, Andrew didn't see his brother in the chair. He saw the man from the gate years ago. That wet, gaunt man in the old suit, rotting skin, red veins in his eyes, staring at the father with pure hate. The dad must have seen this too, because he screams a sound of pure terror. He catches his chest and drops, convulsing on the floor. Andrew is scrambling in the dark, trying to find the phone to call 999. When the lights flicker back on, June is standing over the dad's body. He's just watching his dad convulse on the floor. The dad died of a massive heart attack right there on the floor. June looked at Andrew, face blank. The mother died 3 months later in her sleep. She just had nothing left to give. Andrew was terrified. He was just a young adult now, working 3 jobs, trying to keep the house. He wanted to kick June out, but he was scared. Honestly, he was scared that if he kicked June out, something else would happen, and maybe he would be next. Then came the fire. About a year after their mother died, Andrew wakes up in the middle of the night to smoke. He scrambled to his feet and ran out to see what was going on. The living room is an inferno. The whole ground floor is blazing. Andrew barely makes it out alive. He jumps off the second floor balcony twists his ankle, coughing up black soot. He looks up at the burning house. The neighbors are screaming. The fire engines are coming. He looks up at the second-floor window, the parents' bedroom. June is standing there. The fire is raging behind him, but June isn't screaming for help. He isn't trying to jump. He's just standing there, calm, just staring out the window. And Andrew swears behind June, in the smoke, he saw two shadows, two figures that looked exactly like his mom and dad, but they looked terrified, bound, trapped. June looked down at Andrew, and he waved, a slow little wave of goodbye. Then, the roof collapsed. The police said it was faulty wiring. They found a body. They said it was June. After this fire, Andrew had nothing left. He moved away. He left Yunlong. He moved to the city, got a job at a small office, and tried to forget. He tried to rebuild a new life alone. Nothing strange happened to Andrew again after June died, but Andrew did decide to go back to Yunlong one day. He tracked down Master Gu. The master wasn't in his hall anymore. He was now an old man in a hospice, barely clinging on to life. But when Andrew walked into that room, Master Gu turned his head. He recognized Andrew. "You're all grown up now," the master wheezed. Andrew sat by the bed and asked the question that had been burning a hole in his soul. "Why did all of this happen to my family? We were just simple folks who didn't harm anyone. Why did all of this have to happen?" Master Gu stayed quiet for a bit, then gave a small, sympathetic smile. He sighed, and then he told Andrew. He said, "Son, your father wasn't always a taxi driver. Souls recycle, Andrew. And in his last life, your father was a man of ambition." Master Gu described a scene on a small, rocking boat in Victoria Harbor many decades ago. The waves were high. The sky was black. There were two men on that boat. One was Andrew's father in a past life. The other was the man in the suit that Andrew had seen when he was a kid. They weren't just friends. They were business partners, smugglers running gold and cash out of the chaotic city on a boat. The man in the suit was clutching a leather briefcase, his life savings, everything he had to his name to start a new life. He was terrified. He couldn't swim. Master Gu's voice got low, almost like a growl. "Your father, he did the math. 2 men, 1 heavy briefcase, 1 boat. The math didn't work for him. In the middle of the water, Andrew's father made a choice. He grabbed the oar. He didn't just push the man, he beat him. He struck him across the face, shattering his jaw, and then shoved him overboard into the black, churning water. The man screamed. He reached up, grabbing the side of the boat. He begged, 'Help me. I have a family. I have a son. Please, just take the money. Just let me live.' And your father?" He looked down at him and hit him once more with the oar. The last thing the man did before the water swallowed him up was stare. He stared up at your father with eyes full of betrayal, full of hate. He sank into the harbor, still wearing that expensive tailored suit, drowning in the cold, dark water, while your father rode away with his fortune. "So he came back," Andrew whispered, tears streaming down his face. "To kill him?" "No," Master Gu said. "Death was too easy. If you just wanted to kill your father, you could have just done that as a ghost. He wanted more. He wanted the life that was stolen from him. He wanted to be his son. He wanted to eat your father's luck, drain your mother's life." So, Hong Kong horror family, what do you think happened here to Andrew's family? Was Master Gu right, and June was really here to collect a debt from a past life? Or was it all just a horrible coincidence? Please, pause the video here and let me know what you think happened here. Alright, so what do I think happened here from a Chinese cultural perspective? There are many stories like this all around the world. Does it all come down to just luck? Are some children that come into our lives just a bad apple? Or is there something deeper at play here? The story revolves around a very heavy and deep topic in Chinese culture, and I'll try my best to explain it in a simple way. It's something we call yun fun, which translates to destiny. Yun means karmic connection, and fun means the portion or debt attached to that connection. So in simple terms, it means you are tied to someone across lifetimes, and something must be settled. There's an old Chinese saying, 無緣不聚，無債不來. Without connection, you won't meet. Without debt, they won't come. It's believed that family bonds are not random, but rather karmic assignments. Parents and children are assigned, not chosen. When a child is born into a family, the question isn't, what will this child become? It's, why did this soul come here? We believe that children are either here to repay a debt or collect a debt from past lives. From a karmic perspective, rebirth as a child is devastatingly efficient because parents cannot abandon their children without moral collapse. Parents naturally love their children. Society protects children. Most parents would sacrifice everything they have for the safety of their children. This is why elders fear this category of karmic debt collectors the most. A ghost or demon could be exorcised, but your own child, they will always be loved, even if they destroy you from the inside out. I want to talk about two kinds of karmic children. Old villagers, temple caretakers, and sifus often spoke about children in two quiet categories. 來報恩的孩子, children who come to repay a debt. And then, there's the 來討債的孩子, children who come to collect the debt. Same doorway, but totally different purpose. Children who come to repay a debt, as you can guess, these are the kids that come into your life who seem to have been sent here to save you. These kids are believed to be reincarnated souls of people who received kindness from you, protection, or sacrifice from you in a past life. Maybe you died for them, or you saved them from death, or you sheltered them. They left that life owing you gratitude that had to be repaid. They return as your children because it's the most intimate way to repay you for your kindness. Elders say there are easy ways to identify these types of children. Usually, they will bring calm into a chaotic household. They will also strengthen marriages instead of breaking them up. They will usually mature early emotionally. They will care for sick parents without resentment, and also bring opportunities or luck just by being present. Maybe your child grew up with minimal health issues, and everything is smooth. Maybe they grow up to be successful and take care of you financially in your old age. Elders would say, this child carries blessings and brings it. These kids don't just make life easy, they make life possible. It was like they were sent here to save you in this hard life. And then, some people could be on the opposite end of the spectrum. There are children who come into our lives to collect the debt. This is the belief people avoid talking about, but these are the reincarnation of souls of people who you may have harmed, betrayed, or abandoned in another life. Everything we do in life leaves a mark, not just a memory, not just in law, but in the structure of the universe itself. In today's world, it's easy to believe that if you're clever enough, fast enough, or hidden behind a screen, you can escape consequences. We see scammers every day, draining elderly people out of their life savings with a few clicks of a mouse. Decades of hard work disappeared overnight. The victims are left humiliated, terrified, sometimes unable to survive. And the scammers? They post photos of luxury cars, vacations, designer watches. On the outside, it looks like they've won. But from a Taoist and Buddhist perspective, This is a dangerous illusion, because in these traditions, karma is not moral punishment, it's record keeping. The universe doesn't get angry, it doesn't seek revenge, it simply remembers. Every intentional act plants something, and what matters most is not whether you were caught, but who you harmed, how deeply, and with what intention. Scamming the elderly is considered especially heavy karma in Chinese belief. Why? Because elders represent accumulated time, effort, and survival. You're not just stealing money, you're stealing lifespan, safety, and dignity. In Buddhist terms, this is harm layered on vulnerability, which multiplies the karmic weight. Now here's the part modern people don't like hearing. Yes, the scammers might live well in this lifetime. They might never be arrested. They might die comfortably, in their sleep, in their mansion. From the surface, it looks like injustice. But Taoism and Buddhism both say the same thing in different words. 果報未到，不代表沒有業障. Just because the result hasn't arrived yet, doesn't mean it wasn't recorded. Karma doesn't work on human schedules. It works on completion. Sometimes the conditions for repayment don't mature in this life. Sometimes the person escapes consequences because this life is being used to accumulate the debt, not settle it. And that debt doesn't disappear at death. In Buddhist belief, consciousness carries forward tendencies, imprints, and unresolved accounts. In Taoist belief, unresolved yin actions create imbalance that must be corrected through suffering, loss, or limitation somewhere down the line. That's where the idea of future repayment comes in. The scammer may either return as someone who is constantly financially drained, loses security no matter how hard they work, becomes dependent in old age, or is born into circumstances where survival itself is a struggle. And what's one of the best ways to ensure that the scammer repays these debts and endures everything I've just listed? Something that comes in a form that they can never reject. Children. Their own flesh and blood. These debt-collecting children don't return to haunt, but to balance the books. Elders feared patterns like parents aging rapidly after a child's birth, endless medical bills with no resolution, financial collapse tied directly to the child's needs, emotional exhaustion without relief, and parents giving everything and losing it all. I'm sure we've all seen or heard of some examples like this. Elders would whisper, "It's not the child that's bad, the connection is heavy." Some children come to warm the house, some come to burn it down. Both are sent by the same system. Thank you, Hong Kong Horror family, for watching all the way to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this week's story. Until we speak again next week, stay safe and good night.